Hey everyone, the Fat Kid here with DankMTG coming to you with another modern deck tech. Today we'll be talking about one of my favorite modern decks, 8-Whack, now 12-Whack. This modern 12-Whack deck is a fun, affordable, and competitive modern deck that can stand with the rest of modern. Let's get started. 8 or 12-Whack is a mono red aggro deck that is built around the 12-Whack cards, which we'll get into in due time. The goal of the deck is to play creatures, build your board up, and turn them sideways with one or more of the 12 namesake cards, and a few spells to close out games fast. The deck list consists of 4 Battle Cry Goblin, Foundry Denizen, Goblin Bushwhacker, Goblin Guide, 1 Goblin Piledriver, 4 Legion Loyalist, Mogg Fanatic, Mogg War Marshal, Reckless Bushwhacker. For the spells we have 4 Lightning Bolt and 4 Goblin Grenade. For lands we have 15 Mountains and 4 Castle Embereth. For the sideboard we have 3 Cleansing Wildfire, 2 Dragon's Claw, 2 Ratchet Bomb, 2 Reality Hemorrhage, 2 Smithereens, 3 Tormod's Crypt, and 1 Void Mirror. The deck plays 4 of each Bushwhackers. These 3 cards are the namesakes of 12-Whack. All 3 relatively do the same thing with minor costs. Goblin Bushwhacker is 1 red mana for a 1/1, but if we pay an additional red for its kicker, our creatures will get +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. Reckless Bushwhacker is 3 mana, but if we cast a spell this turn, we can pay 2 for its search cost and gives other creatures +1/+0 and haste, just like Goblin Bushwhacker. Finally, we have Battle Cry Goblin. This is an honorary Bushwhacker as it gives the same buff to all our goblins for just 2 mana like the other Bushwhackers, except we can do this more than once a turn to help close out a game. It also has pack tactics to make more goblins if have 6 or more power attacking with them. This also means if we have a turn 1 Goblin Guide into a turn 2 Battle Cry Goblin, by turn 3 we can pump them up to get the 6 power we need to make more goblins. The other creatures of the deck are Goblin Guide is our most aggressive card, being a 2/2 with haste. It may get our opponents a land, but we should be able to close out the game fast with him. We can also use this to our advantage to gain information on what the opponent will draw if a land is not revealed. Foundry Denizen is a 1/1 for 1 that can get big fast every time a red creature enters the battlefield, getting a buff of +1/+0 until end of turn. It's not uncommon for this to be our biggest creature, as a 3/1 and a 4/1 aren't out of the question. I do want to add that this triggers on any of our goblins ETBs, so tokens will buff Denizen, whether it be from pack tactics or battle cry triggering, or another card we'll be looking at into later. Legion Loyalist is our combat trick. It doesn't look like much for being a 1/1 with haste, but has a forgotten ability called Battalion, which when him and 2 other creatures attack, he triggers, giving your team first strike and trample. They can't be blocked by tokens, meaning they can't be chump blocked, and can get a big Denizen or Goblin Piledriver through. First strike and trample are game changing, and I can't expect how much this one card makes the deck very favored in combat. What do goblins and goblin players like? More goblins, and we have just that. Mogg Fanatic is next, being a simple 1/1 for 1 red that can sack itself to deal 1 damage. Just a cheap 1 drop. 1 damage goes a lot further than you think it does. You have a monkey, well, you had a monkey. Early Dragon Ray Channelers, Risen Reef, and Ice Vein Coatl all are open to being removed by this 1 card. That's not even including this is a creature that can attack. You can buff it with your whackers, get damage in, then sack it where you need. Even in combat, you can block a big creature before damage is dealt, sack it to ping your opponent, or even better, remove another creature. So much value, and I approve definitely. Mogg War Marshal makes tokens when he enters and he leaves the battlefield. He's also got an echo cost, so keep that in mind if you want to keep him around longer. But most of the time, we don't care to pay for it. A great blocker sends the other way around the echo cost. We have a 1 of Goblin Piledriver. This creature is the close game out card. A 2 mana 1/2 that has protection from blue, which is nice and welcome to fight against regents and ledger shredders. But this real power is that he gets big fast, getting +2/+0 until end of turn for each goblin you control. Combine that with Legion Loyalist, you can grant him trample and finish the game with 1 swing. This can easily swing for over 10 damage, sometimes even lethal, can come from this 1 creature. Yes, more goblins is nice, but we do play some spells in this deck. We play a set of Lightning Bolt because we are in red and we can't beat for 1 mana for 3 damage. The king of red spells, I do have to say, our creatures can get damage in really early, and this can finish off our opponent. Maybe not as quickly as the next card, but you can't go wrong with Bolt. Goblin Grenade is our big Lightning Bolt, and even more reason to play this deck. for 1 red and sacking another goblin, we can deal 5 damage to any target. We have so many goblins that the requirement for this card is almost always met. Our lands are straightforward. 15 mountains and 4 Castle Embereth. Castle Embereth is our utility land. It enters the battlefield tapped if we don't control a mountain, so it will almost always come in untapped. The utility of paying 1-2 red, we can buff our team up for +1/+1 until end of turn for the last little bit of damage if we need. Now that we know the cards in our deck and our goal, let's see what to expect and look for when playing the deck. I have a lot of experience with this deck because I've played it for many years, so I know the ins and outs, what makes a good hand and a bad hand, and what you should keep and what you should mulligan. A good hand consists of a Bushwhacker, some 1-drops and spells, and 2 to 3 lands, like this hand. Here are some sample hands to help see what's keep or mulligan. The first hand is a good beginner trap, and trust me, I fell for it too. Some might say the first hand is a keep, but you have to take into account what your opponent is playing and trust the good old luck of the draw. Yes, the first hand has 1-drops and Bushwhacker. We only have 1 land, and if we don't get another, we are dead in the water. Mulligan. The second hand has 4 lands, 1-drop, and a Bushwhacker. This is a much safer hand, and if you're learning the deck, you will make all your land drops, and anything you draw that's not a land is fuel for your hand. Keep it. The next hand, just like the first, has 3 1-drops, a Bushwhacker, Piledriver, and 1 land. This hand can be a keep if you get another land off the draw. Keep only if you want to risk it, mulligan if you want to play it safe. Final hand is the hand you want. It has 1-drops, Bushwhacker, 2 lands, and a true drop. This is the keep because everything can be played on curve. Our sideboard is fairly easy. 3 Cleansing Wildfire for land hate. Yes, I am looking at you, Saga, Tron, Amulet, and Man lands. 2 Dragon's Claw for the mirror, or tech against burn. You can gain a lot of life off your opponent's spells and our own spells to keep us in the game. When our opponent bolts us for only 2 damage, and we can bolt ours for 3 and gain life. Kind of hard for burn to play through that. 2 Ratchet Bombs to deal with problem cards such as aggro decks and tokens. I still see you, Saga, and Construct. 2 Reality Hemorrhage to fight against the many pro-red creatures. These are death sentence for this deck, as we use our creatures to win. But if our creatures can't get through and we can't interact with it, we typically lose. Continuing with the sideboard, 3 Smash the Smithereens is our artifact hate. I still see you, Construct. It also burns them for 3, which is a nice bonus. 3 Tormod's Crypt is our grave hate and also costs 0 to help cast Reckless Bushwhacker for its surge cost. And finally, 1 Void Mirror for some free spells, Cascade, Affinity, and or Tron Tech. 12-black is a fun and affordable deck that can compete with the best of them. And this deck can be bought for only $50 with sideboard. So if you want to have a fun, fast, cheap, competitive deck, 12-black is for you. That's the deck tech, everyone. I have had lots of fun with this deck and hope you will too. Do you want to see another deck tech on another deck or format? Do you want to see this deck in action? Let us know in the comments below. Deck list will be posted in the description for you. Thank you for watching, and always remember, stay dank.